Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Talk. Today we are going to have our classroom 10 of Python tutorial, and in today's tutorial we are going to learn about file processing using Python. So without wasting any of your time, let's get started. So to do file processing by using Python, first of all, what we need a file here. So this file fruit.txt you have seen, this file is on my desktop, and this file I have opened by a text editor, that is Notepad. So what are the actions we can perform on this file, on this text file? We can actually read this file using this Notepad text editor. We can write within this file. That means we can write anything into this file, and also we can copy and paste contents into this file. So all that actions that we can do using Notepad text editor, we can also do by using Python. So that will be very easy when we are going to do it using Python. So that I'll show you. So keep watching. So the first operation that we want to perform on our file is to read the file. So ideally, when we read our file, what we do, we just double click on our file, and the file opens, and then we read it. So obviously, while doing by Python, double click will not work. So we need to write a code. So before writing the code, I have taken my fruits.txt file in the same directory where I have this file processing.py code. So my program and my fruit.txt, both the files will be in same directory. So now what happens when you open a file by double clicking it in any text editor, like in Notepad or Notepad++, any text editor? When we open a file, a temporary object gets created within the RAM of your computer, and when you close the file, that temporary object gets deleted as well. So we have to do the same thing in Python by writing the code. So suppose I'm taking this my file variable, and we are going to store that object that will be created in our computer RAM within this my file variable. So I'm going to write my file equals to, here is a function called open that will create the object, and obviously this is a function, so it will take some argument. So what argument it will take? It will take the path of the file that we want to read or we want to open. So as this fruits.txt is in the same directory where my file processing.py is present, so we just need to give the fruits.files text files name. Otherwise you have to give the whole path of the file where it is present. So we are just doing my file equals to open fruits.txt, and then to read this file we have to do it like this: print. Obviously I have to print it, otherwise I cannot see the content what is present over the file. Then as my file is my file is an object that is created with open method, so Python will treat it as a file, and automatically it will have a method called read method. So for this I just have to write my file dot read and open and close parenthesis. So I'm just taking this file over here, so you can see the content here. So same content will be printed if I use read method with this my file object. Saving it and running here. You can see the same content that is present in fruits.txt is printed over here. So that means we are we are able to read this fruits.txt file. Now one very important concept of file processing is cursor. So before reading my file object by using read method, the cursor of this file is present here. at the starting of the file. So after this read method is applied, so this cursor just goes around all over the file and present here. So after this read method is applied, this cursor is present over here. So if again I apply this read method, so what you are expecting, that this content should be printed twice, right? But what it will do, you can just see, you can see that it is printed only once and then a block of space. Why? Because read method is applied first, so it just read this all content here, and then the cursor is present here. For the next line, for this line number 3, where again read method is applied, nothing is present after this cursor, so it's just it's just getting a block of space. So if you want to print it multiple times, what you have to do, you just take this myfile.read and you have to store it in another variable, suppose content, and then you have to just print the content whatever times you want. Like if I want to read it twice, I have to print it twice, print content, and then if I run it, so you can see that this same content has been printed 2 times. So one thing that I have told you earlier, that whenever you are opening your file using a text editor, that there is a particular object, temporary object, that will be created in your computer RAM, and whenever you are closing that file, that temporary object will be deleted. So same thing we have to do using our Python code. So using this open function, we are creating this object, myfile object, in our computer memory. So now if you want to close it, we have to apply close method, myfile.close. So now if I run this program, you will see that output is same, there is no big difference, but we actually should do this always whenever we are finished with all the working with our files. We have to close our file, because this is always a good idea to close the file to free your memory. So this thing you always should do. And one more thing that you have to remember, that after you close your file object, if you apply read method again, that is myfile.read, you will get an error like this, that this operation is on a closed file. So that so you have already closed my file and then you are trying to read it, so that's why we are getting this error. So this thing you have to remember, that after closing that file you should not apply this read method. So as we have learned about the basic operations of a file that we can perform on this file by using Python. So there is always a better way that that is present in Python that we can do to do this 2, 3, 4 lines of code in a quicker way. So how we can do this, I'll show you. So first we have here created this file, my file object, then we have stored it in content, then we have closed it, and before this we have read this file. So this all thing will be done within 2 statements, that is with our with context manager. With is a keyword of Python that is used in file processing, and this with is called as context manager. So for with, we'll do with and then open fruits.txt, and then we'll write as, and here I will write the file object's name that I have given as my file, and then we have to give a colon and enter. So after this indentation, we have to write all the actions that we need to perform on our fruits.txt file. So what we need to do, we need to just store this myfile.read within this content variable. So we can do the same thing here. So now if I simply delete this so that you are not confused. Okay, so this print content statement is always outside the with block, so that it can print once this action is completed. So now if I run this, you will see the same output we are getting, only with this 2 lines of code. And here one more thing that I should mention, that here you should not actually explicitly close your files, because whenever you are using with context manager, it will implicitly close the files after this block of code is performed. This block ends, the file will be implicitly closed as well. So closing the file is not mandatory here. And one small thing that I think I should show you before going further, that if this fruits.txt file is not in the same directory where my file processing.py file is present, so what will be the argument that will be passed in open function? So here, suppose I'm just creating a new folder named files, and I'm just moving this fruit.txt inside this file, inside this files folder. So you can see that it is moved now inside the files. So now if I run this code, so you will see that we are getting this error, file not found error, no such file or directory that is called fruits.txt, because we have moved this fruits.txt inside files that is in the same directory where file processing.py is present. So what we should do here, we just have to give the path like file / fruits.txt, and now if I run it, files, I think, yes, files. So now if I run it, you will see the same output I'm getting. So you have to remember, you have to keep this in mind. So here is I'm with another action that we want to perform on our files, that is writing into our files. So how we can do this? So before doing this, I just need to show you something, and that is, if we do help open, you will see that open function is actually taking more than one argument, that is file that we have already passed here as fruits.txt, and then one more argument is mode equals to quotation r. So we haven't passed it here, anything we haven't passed it. So that means we are using a default value for rest of the arguments. So if we do this quotation r, save it and run it, you will see the same output we are getting. We are just reading this fruits.txt file. So if I'm not passing anything, so that means mode's default value is taking. So that's why we are able to read our file without using anything for this mode parameter. So here, what will be the value of mode for writing? So it will be W. Suppose we want to create a new file, that is vegetables. If I want to create this vegetables.txt file inside this files folder, and we have to write something right inside this vegetables.txt file. So here I will use this write method, and inside this write I will write, suppose, tomato, and this content is not, doesn't make any sense here, because we are not fetching any data to print it out. So I'm just deleting this and run it. You will see one more file has been created here, that is vegetables.txt. and what is the content of vegetables.txt? That is tomato. I'm just taking it here. Yeah, so you can see that vegetables.txt is now tomato. So one thing I should warn you, that whenever you are writing a file or you are creating a new file, so you have to be careful that what file you are giving in this argument. Because suppose I am doing it like this, fruits.txt with w mode and writing tomato over here, and if I run it, you will see that my fruit.txt data has been overwritten by tomato. So this thing you have to remember, this thing you have to be very careful when you are using w mode. So what actions all left that we can do within our with our w mode, that we can add multiple lines over here. So how we can write multiple lines like this, /n, that is a break line, and then I can give onion /n carrot, and now if I run it, you will see that onion and carrot has been added here. So one more thing that I think you should know, that is, if I do like this, my file dot write, and here garlic, what happens? So you will see that carrot, garlic, it is just added after carrot. Why? Because here comes another, that concept that we have already know, that is the cursor concept. So as the after this write method was applied for carrot, so the cursor was here. So again, when I am applying write method, this garlic is added after carrot only. So if I give a space here, you will see that after carrot and garlic, between this carrot and garlic, there will be a space like this. And if I want to make a new line for garlic, I can give it like this and remove this space like this, or I can do it like this, /n starting of the garlic. Same thing you can do. So here is some more concepts of writing into our file. So as I told you that whenever you are writing your file, you have to be very careful, otherwise your file will be overridden with some other data. So to avoid this, what we can do, if in this help documentation you just scroll down more, you will see that there are some more characters over here that will represent some other options. So we have used R for reading and W for writing, and next is X. So X will be creating a new file and open it for writing. So what happens if we use X option here, and suppose I'm just deleting this line. Okay, so I want to add another vegetable, potato. So now if I run this, I will get an error, that file exists error. So X will be very safe. If this file is already existing in your drive, so it will show that this file is already existing. So we are not going to override our data. So that's why X is very safe. So next option is A. A is for appending a new line or new content inside your file, but without overriding it. So if I do this A and then run it, it will allow me to add potato without overriding the other data. So here you can see that potato is added. So now if I want to read this file, so I'll do my file dot read, and here I'll store this inside a variable that is content, and outside this with block I'll print this content. Yes, now if I run this, you will see that here this error we are getting, that this file is not readable. Why? Because we have used a option, so it is not a readable mode. So that's why this error we are getting, that this is unsupported operation, this file is not readable even. So what we have to do, here you can see that one there is option is as plus. So open a disk file for updating reading and writing. So to do reading and writing simultaneously, we have to use a plus. So now if I run it, you will see that nothing has been printed. Why so? Because you have written this potato, right? And then where is the cursor? Here only, after potato. So after this cursor, nothing is there, right? No content is there. So that's why it is just printing a block of spaces. So to take this cursor at the starting of this file, that means at the starting of tomato, what we need to do? We need to use another method called seek. And to keep this cursor again at the 0th position, we have to give this 0 inside this seek method, and then I'll run it, and you will see this content is printed over here. So guys, I hope you have really enjoyed these interesting concepts of file processing using Python, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe our channel, and we have lots more coming for you. So till then, keep watching and stay safe and keep learning. Bye bye.